Hi, Dibbly here. Today I'm going to show you how to do easy half joints using a compound mitre saw. This is just an example of the way I do it. It may not be the best way, it may not be the safest way, so it kind of assumes that you are aware of your own safety when you're doing it. There is a couple of techniques which are less than safe, which I'll show you in a minute, but it does make, as you can see, a lovely, decent half joint, and it's quite quick as well. So the first thing you need to do is you need to set, depending on what your saw is like, I don't know if you can see that there, your depth stop. So for me the lever's there, so when I pull the saw down it stops, and I've set it so it stops halfway through the thickness of the battens that I am trying to do a half joint on. This is just some bits I was mocking up, just to, some rough bits of wood, just to make sure I get the half joint exactly right. Better to do that on a few rough bits before you start on the main bit. So I'm going to leave, this is not the bit I'm going to cut, but I'm going to have to leave this up against the fence, because the centre of my saw, when it's pushed fully back, does not go past the fence, but it will go past the thickness of this. So the next thing I want to show you is a bit of a technique, especially if your blade's a little bit blunt and making the battens a bit hairy when it cuts it. What I tend to do is I tend to scribe with a very sharp knife blade a line that's exactly the thickness of the wood that I'm going to rebate out. I don't know if you can actually see that there. Probably can't see that because the sun's too bright, but there is a thin scratch line there that just reduces very slightly the amount of splitting of the wood, especially on this white wood. It's very, very thick grained as such, so it splits at a blink of an eye. Right, I'm gonna now just pause this, set up the saw, and then I'll show you my technique. I'm going to start sawing just inside my scribed or knifed line, and then I'm going to work towards the end of the batten. Before I reach the end of the batten, I'll then go and do the very end cut, just to try and reduce the amount of sort of fraying and splitting of the wood from the saw. It's not so bad if you've got a brand new blade, but I haven't got a brand new blade at the moment, so it is tending to split the wood a little bit. I've now sanded, oops, not quite fully, you can see it has split a little bit. I've now sanded the rough bits off. You notice that I did drag the saw sideways to get rid of the horizontal or the perpendicular saw cuts. That is probably a technique which you do so at your own risk. Trying to use a saw blade sideways is just not safe. I find it works for me. I'm very careful. I don't do it if there's a lot of extra material on there. I only do it just to smooth it out, and then it basically takes away some of the remainder of the material. So now, hopefully, with one of my other bits, I fit that on. Should see this one's actually a bit short. Yeah, that's a good example. Not really, is it? But you can see it's probably not the best one. That one's actually slightly overcut, but obviously it's down to the level of, oops, sorry, down to the level of time that you take to set it up. The more time you take to set it up and make sure you're accurate, the more accurate your work will be, but it is a quick way of doing half joints. Okay, I'm Dibley, thanks for watching.